Channel 4, the tri-state area's leading news station. This is Action News.
Hello, the Steelers have done it. Super Bowl XIII is over, and the Steelers are once again the NFL champs. John Steigerwald spent the day checking out all of the action, and he's got the highlights. John?
Well, the Steelers are the first team ever to win the Super Bowl 3 times. They did it today. They beat Dallas 35-31, as I'm sure you know by now. There were a lot of records set in the game, and when 66 points are scored in a game, a lot of talk's going to be about the defense, rather about the offense and the scoring. We'll talk about that and look at that in our regular sports segment in a few minutes, but there were a lot of ingredients in the game, like the defensive line, Steve Furness, who you just saw a minute ago, and also there's Dwight White, who played an excellent game, and the whole defensive line and the defense in general put a lot of pressure on Roger Staubach all day. And I think if they named the defensive player of the game, and the terrible towel, by the way, was there, if they named the player of the game, it would have to be defensively John Banasak. You see him here getting Robert Newhouse. He would have to be a leading candidate for defensive player of the game. Tony Dorsett, he gained 96 yards. Very good day for anybody in a Super Bowl, but he didn't break any long ones because of containment like this by the linebackers, including a guy by the name of Jack Ham. And for a guy who's supposed to be an old man, number 75, Mr. Joe Green, didn't play too badly today. He gives Roger Staubach a little bit of pressure here, and Staubach fumbles, although Dallas did recover the ball. If Steve Furness would have fallen on it, the Steelers would have had it there and might have put it away a little bit earlier. And there was a lot of talk before the game about intimidation. Well, let's see who's doing the intimidating here. Tony Dorsett makes a nice run. He steps out of bounds right there, but it's what happens after that that's interesting. Now, who's doing the intimidating there? Is it Dorsett or Johnson? A little bit of a difference of opinion there about something. And most of the talk about intimidation was done by Thomas Henderson. And who's doing the intimidating there? I think that's Dirt Winston who intimidates Henderson onto the turf there. And Mel Blount, he got the only interception for the Steelers. Some people say he didn't have a real good year this year, but he's an all-pro. He has the only interception of the day for the Steelers. And then Mr. Dupree tries to do a little bit of intimidating on his own. And Dallas tried the flea flicker twice. And here you see the Steelers on a big 3rd and 2 play stopping Scott Laidlaw. A lot of terrible towels there. It made national TV today again. Now the flea flicker. This is the second time they tried it. Roger Staubach had time to throw, put up a pretty nice pass, but right on him, Ron Johnson covered him, and it didn't work for the second time. And as I said earlier, for an old man who some people said might be cut at the beginning of the year, Joe Green didn't do a bad job either. He knocks down a pass there. We'll have all the offensive highlights when we come back with our regular sports segment. 35-31. Terry Bradshaw is the most valuable player, and I would think that there was a little bit of activity around the city related to that win today.
A lot of activity, John. Quite a bit of activity, as a matter of fact. Plenty of people celebrating tonight. Thousands of them all along the greater Pittsburgh area. Downtown especially, the scene of massive demonstrations of support for the Steelers tonight. Deborah Fox has been there all night long. Some of it's not very pretty. Debbie? Downtown was not the only place where thousands of people gathered to celebrate the Super Bowl win. Oakland was another lightning rod for celebrants. Pitt students started pouring out of their dorms and apartments as soon as the final gun sounded. Shouts of "We're number one" rang through the streets, and terrible towels swung into action. Another big center of activity tonight, the Public Safety Building downtown. That's where all the people who over-celebrated were taken free of charge by Pittsburgh police. Charges against them will range from public drunkenness to disorderly conduct. So far, no serious incidents have been reported. Over at the Green Tree Marriott tonight, a lot of serious partying going on right now. People out there trying like heck to celebrate the Steelers' win, and Galen Grimes is one of them. Galen, how does it look?
Mike, I didn't think this party would get any worse, but it has. The fans are literally going crazy out here celebrating the Steelers' victory today. I did find out, though, about how many people can stand on one cocktail table at one time, and right now we've got about half a dozen people up here. Don't ask me what I'm doing up here or how long I'm going to stay. I'll just let the fans speak for themselves. They're just totally enthused with their team today. The Cowboys party's over.
Number one, number one.
For the Cowboys. It's been going on all night since we've been here, Mike. And I think it's going to go on till these people drop from exhaustion. with the live action cam.
Blyer, nice catch by Blyer. Touchdown. Jarrella's kick made it 21-14 at the half. Then in the third quarter, 3rd and 3 at the Pittsburgh 10. Staubach throws to Jackie Smith. This is the one that they're going to be talking about for a long time. Jackie Smith drops the ball. Dallas had to settle for a 27-yard field goal here by Raphael Septien. It's 21-17, the Steelers. Now we go to the fourth quarter. The Steelers are 3rd and 8 at their 16. Grossman, again, with a big catch. Nice pass by Bradshaw, and he just was over. His forward progress got him past the first down. And on the next play, it's Bradshaw again. You see why Bradshaw was MVP, by the way, by looking at this. Swan falls to his knees, makes the catch to 39 for another first down. 2 plays later, Bradshaw wants Swan. He can't get to it. You'll see here, Bradshaw put that one up. It was going to draw rain if it wasn't already raining. And Swan did not catch the ball, as you see there, but he was there was a penalty to the 23 for interference on Benny Barnes. So it's 1st and 10 at the Dallas 23. The delay of game penalty made it 3rd and 9 instead of 3rd and 5. Bradshaw read blitz. He called draw, and you see Harris make it in there, 23 yards for a touchdown. Jarrella's kick made it 28-17. And Chuck Noll may have talked to Roy Jarrella about something before the kickoff, because it was a squib kick. And Randy White, who is a monster, and they say he likes to hit people. He doesn't do a good job of carrying the ball. He fumbles it. And Dirt Winston is the guy that finally comes out of this pile. You'll see him running off the field here in a second. There's a long pileup. Finally, Winston came up with it. Then on the first play, Bradshaw did this several times this year after a turnover. Bradshaw didn't want to waste any time, and he didn't. Perfect pass, excellent catch, touchdown to Swan. Jarrella's kick makes it 35-17. It looked like it was over, but if you watch the game, you know it wasn't over at all. Dallas drove right down and scored. Roger Staubach here to Billy Joe Dupree from 8 yards out. Ron Johnson tries to wrestle him out of bounds, but he wasn't able to before he got over for the touchdown. Septien's kick made it 35-24. Dallas went for the onside kick. Dennis Thurman gets the rebound off Tony Dungy, and it's Dallas ball at their own 49-yard line. 52 seconds to go now, 4th and 18. Steelers stop him here, and it is over. But Staubach throws to his Pearson, Drew Pearson, and it's a little bit of a scramble there. Mike Wagner wanted to take him back to make it 4th and 18 again, but there's a little disagreement again. And it's first down at the Steelers' 13-yard line. 3rd and 1 at the 4. Staubach to Butch Johnson. Nobody near him in the end zone. I don't know why he jumped, but he did. He spiked it nicely. Septien's kick, 35-31. 22 seconds left. An onside kick again. And Rocky Blyer falls on it this time, and it's all over. 35-31. The Steelers are the first team ever to win 3 Super Bowls. And they talk about Vince Lombardi and Don Shula and a lot of other people as being great coaches, but Chuck Noll's done one thing that they never did, and that's win 3 times. He may be the best coach ever, and some people may start to recognize that pretty soon. No doubt about it. The teams were pretty well matched today, too, and it was a heck of a game. And Bradshaw, if there's anybody who doesn't appreciate his contribution to this team by now, then they got to move or forget about football or something. He probably lives up in Nome, Alaska. Okay, thanks, John, very much. Steelers.
You're looking at the Goodyear blimp flying over the Orange Bowl, today's Orange Bowl, and today's blimp in light of the movie you just saw. It was here just a few hours ago that the Steelers made history by beating Dallas and winning their 3rd Super Bowl confrontation. It was a tremendous game filled with many great plays, and it sparked an eruption from thousands of fans here in Pittsburgh. More on the fans in just a moment, but first, John Sanders, one of the lucky ones who happened to be down in Miami today for the big game. You were about as close to it as everyone in the world wanted to be.
It was a fantastic game, undoubtedly the best Super Bowl ever. Right now, I'm actually speaking to you from the celebration party, which is at the Omni Hotel and Shopping Mall here in the Miami area. All the Steelers are inside. We're having a great time, and there's only one reason they're having a great time, because we won the football game this afternoon and proved without a doubt that I think the Steelers are probably the best team that's ever played football.
No doubt. I enjoyed it. I know everybody back here did. We did get a few minutes to take a look at it. We ought to go to a couple of highlights, though, and take a look at this 35-31 win. It was close, almost as close as the spread said it would be, huh?
Let's do that right now. And I think John Stallworth was fantastic this afternoon, Bill, especially in the early part of the ballgame. He made some great catches. The first Steeler drive ended with this 28-yard touchdown pass and put Pittsburgh on top 7-0. Dallas got even on the very last play of the very first quarter. Staubach going to Tony Hill out of the shotgun. Mel Blount had his back to the play, 39-yard touchdown. Second quarter now, Terry Bradshaw is hit by Thomas Henderson and Mike Hegman. Now what happens after Bradshaw dropped the ball, picked it up, he was squeezed, Hegman stole the ball, went all the way for the touchdown. But they got that right back because Terry Bradshaw came back throwing again to John Stallworth. 75 yards, a great run by Stallworth. That tied the game at 14-14. Pittsburgh took the lead then before the half was over. 26 seconds to play, as a matter of fact. Bradshaw rolling to his right, throwing to number 20, Rocky Breyer, a 7-yard touchdown, 21-14 halftime. Only score in the third quarter was a 27-yard field goal by Rafael Septien, 21-17. Fourth quarter now, Pittsburgh exploded. Franco Harris on the trap play, 28-17. After the fumble on the kickoff, Bradshaw throwing to Lynn Swan, another typical Lynn Swan catch, 18-yard touchdown in the end zone. That made it 35-17. But Dallas wasn't through. Staubach came back, throwing to Billy Joe Dupree in the corner of the end zone, cutting the lead to 35-24. And before it was over, as a matter of fact, with 22 seconds left, Brooks Johnson scored for Dallas. That cut it to 35-31. Dallas tried the onside kick once again, but it did not work. Pittsburgh got the ball back. Rocky Breyer recovered that onside kick, and the Steelers ran out the clock, and with it, they became just the first team ever to win 3 Super Bowls, and of course, it's 3 out of the last 5 years. It was an extremely happy group of Steelers in the locker room. You'll hear from some of those players a little bit later on in the newscast, Bill. Right now, those players are all here at the Omni Hotel in Miami. They're celebrating a hard-earned but well-deserved victory. They're the champions of the world, Bill.
I know the Cowboys have nothing to be ashamed of. They played a heck of a game, too.
That's right, and all the Steelers were willing to give them credit because Dallas did not fold at the end of the ball game, but final score is Pittsburgh 35 and Dallas 31. No doubt about it, the Steelers were the best this season.
Well, John, you and Sherry enjoy your dinner. I know you're about to dine with Joe Green, and who else down there? Mel Blount.
At this present time, I'll be thinking of you, Bill.
Only the lucky guys get the good assignments. All right, John, enjoy your trip back.
Okay.
Within a few minutes of the final gun today, the celebrants began pouring into downtown after that 35-31 win. At its peak, the crowd was estimated at between 5,000 and 7,000 down here, but the police were ready for them. And more than one officer remarked, it was the mildest reaction to a Super Bowl win ever. Bob Sprague has that story.
The police game plan was simple. Keep the cars out of the downtown and keep the celebrants on foot from congregating in one spot. By the time the fourth quarter began, Assistant Police Superintendent Mayor DeRoy put that plan into action. And by the time the gun sounded, downtown Pittsburgh was empty. But within minutes of the victory, the celebration started. The cars maintained the traffic pattern, while celebrants on foot surged down 5th and Forbes Avenues onto Liberty, moving around the block, waving their terrible towels and chanting Pittsburgh's number one. True to their plan, the officers kept the crowds from staying in one spot. There were some altercations. One downtown store was reported broken into. Several persons were reported treated for dog bites after getting a little too close to the canine corps. And there were at least a dozen arrests, most of them for intoxication. But mainly, the crowd just kept on moving. A pussycat crowd, one officer was moved to say, about 9:30. The only real problem occurred at 5th and Grant near the William Penn Hotel, where the crowds met the cars coming in from Oakland. But Superintendent DeRoy said that incident was cleared up in short order.
I believe there were people trying to shake hands with passing motorists. Some were willing to participate. I don't think it was too serious, but it was aggravating to many because they didn't care to participate.
On balance, how do you think your game plan worked this year?
I think the lower end of town, where we had the heaviest concentration of men, where we sustained the most damage the last 2 Super Bowls, was a very, very fine success. And I think overall it was much, much better than the last 2. We're learning, in other words.
On balance, the Pittsburgh police say their game plan worked. There were only 2 reported broken windows this year, as opposed to 11 after Super Bowl X. Officers are expected to be in the downtown area until midnight or perhaps 1 o'clock, but by late in the evening, they felt that the activity for the most part was waning, and the fans were going home to continue their celebrations elsewhere. Bob Sprague, TV2 Eyewitness News.
Well, people all over Pittsburgh were celebrating the Steeler victory tonight. Our Mobile Eye crew found some revelers in Oakland tonight, too.
Everybody here is out of sight. They don't bark and they don't bite. They keep things loose, they keep things right. Every part of it dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and right. It's such a mighty dancing. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. We like our own little fight.
And reporter Allison Davis found some partiers who were a bit warmer in one of the many taverns around Pittsburgh that opened its doors to Steeler fans.
Well, it was a nail-biter towards the end, but the crowd at PJ's in Lawrenceville had faith in their Steelers. Faith that the Pittsburgh team would pull through to make their night a glorious one.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Did you really think that the Steelers would pull it out towards the end? Were you getting a little nervous?
Bradshaw in the game, there was no doubt at all. Bradshaw is the best quarterback in the whole football league. Bradshaw, number one! Yay! Bradshaw, number one!
How about you? Did you think the Steelers were going to pull it off in the end, or were you a little nervous?
Well, honey, I got to tell you this, sir. The Pittsburgh, this has been the best team that ever been assembled in any football field since the inception of football. And I'm going to tell you, if we ain't number one, the Pope ain't Polish.
What team is number one in the world?
Steelers, baby. But we won the game, but they took all the money home. Number one. Right?
Well, obviously this party's going to go on for quite some time, even though tomorrow is a work day. But rightly so. A celebration for a Steeler win. A win I think most agree was well-deserved.
Bionic Bradshaw!
I'm Allison Davis, TV2, Eyewitness News.
Yeah.
Well, one Steeler fan who wasn't celebrating in Pittsburgh tonight is Mayor Caligiuri. That's because he was celebrating in Miami, of course, and John Sanders caught up with him in the Steeler locker room after the game.
We're so proud of this team here, and the fans that came down here just really excited about it all, naturally, and I hope all the ones back home. And for the Steelers to be the first team to win 3 Super Bowls, I think it does credit for the city and for the team and everyone else. I'm just proud to be mayor.
I don't know if you heard what Mike Wagner said, but he said, first of all, congratulations to the city of Pittsburgh, so I know the players must feel the same pride you do.
Well, I'm sure they do.
This afternoon, it looked like a former Pitt star might steal the show. Tony Dorsett was all Dallas had early in the ballgame. Up the middle on this play, 16 yards. Dallas drove on its first possession. That drive ended at the 34 when Dallas decided to get fancy. The flea flicker play turned into a fumble. John Banaszak recovered for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers then went to work as Terry Bradshaw, who had a record first half this afternoon, hit John Stallworth, number 82, with a routine great catch.
He said the offense was the key to your whole year.
4 plays later, the two teamed up again, 28 yards, and the Steelers had a quick 7-0 lead in the first 5 minutes of Super Bowl XIII. But Dallas got it back on the last play of the first quarter from the shotgun. Roger Staubach hitting Tony Hill. Mel Blount has his back to the play, doesn't see him in time. It's a 39-yard Cowboy touchdown and a 7-7 tie after the first quarter. A Terry Bradshaw fumble set up that touchdown, and the other Dallas first half score came when he was sacked, and Mike Hegman stole the ball and raced 37 yards to put the Cowboys ahead 14-7. But it took Terry just 3 plays to even the score. He finds John Stallworth open. Stall turns on the speed. He outruns all of the Dallas defenders for a 75-yard score and ties the Super Bowl record. It also tied the game at 14-14. The Steeler defense then got the football back. Great timing by Mel Blount. He steps in front of a Staubach pass for an interception. A personal foul added 15 yards to his return. Then Bradshaw, who passed for 253 yards in the first half alone, breaking the old Super Bowl game record, finds Lynn Swann, and number 88 races 29 yards with it. 4 plays later, with 26 seconds to play in the first half, Bradshaw rolled right, threw for number 20. Rocky Blyer made a leaping catch in the end zone. A 7-yard touchdown. It was 21-14 Steelers at the half. Dallas almost got even in the third quarter, but Roger Staubach's pass to Jackie Smith was dropped in the end zone. The Cowboys settled for a field goal. It was 21-17 after 3 quarters. The Steelers then had their usual explosion, and it started in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh finally got rolling offensively. Bradshaw hitting Lynn Swann for 14 yards. After a pass interference call helped out, the Steelers popped their only long running play of the game. It was Franco Harris racing past the blitzing Cowboys 22 yards for a touchdown. On the next kickoff, Roy Jarrella slips. The ball fell short. Randy White of Dallas picked it up. He was hit by Tony Dungy, and the Steelers got it back. After the scramble, Dirt Winston was on the bottom of the pile for Pittsburgh. And Terry Bradshaw was quick to capitalize on that mistake. A typical leaping Lynn Swann, 18 yards for the touchdown, and it was 35-17. It appeared to be all over at that point, but Dallas didn't quit. Roger Staubach coming back. Billy Joe Dupree in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. 35-24 now, time running out. Less than 30 seconds to play in the game. The Cowboys were back again. This time Johnson got the touchdown. It was 35-31 with 22 seconds to play. But the Steelers got the ball. They ran out the clock, and they headed to the happy locker room, content to be the first 3-time winners of the Super Bowl. You got your touchdown, didn't you?
I got my touchdown. John got 2 and I got 1. I'm very happy.
Did you know you could do this against Dallas?
Well, we felt like we could, and we knew that offensively we had a great team and we could score points. We could score more points than anybody thought would be scored in the Super Bowl.
That first catch you needed to sort of boost your confidence, to get the feel of the game. You know, the longer you go without that first catch, you know, the longer it is, you know, you're sort of in a slump, not knowing what's going on out there. And I was able to make that, you know, early in the game, so things just, you know, I had the confidence rolling, and things just kept getting better and better.
Mel, congratulations. Great ball game. Let's talk first of all about your interception that you made. You stepped up, made a beautiful move, and there it was.
Well, Staubach didn't even see me. I was dropping back. We was in a zone defense, and I really went out of my zone to make it because, you know, with my peripheral vision, I saw Drew Pearson coming in on end route, and, you know, I saw Staubach, you know, when he spotted it, and he just stopped and pulled up and threw it. He never saw me, so I just stepped right in front of him, and I was able to make the play.
Yeah, it's sweeter than before. This is the third one, and we're the best that ever did it. And the champagne's burning my eyes. And it's nobody's experienced this feeling but us. This champagne is tough.
What does this do to all the talk that went on all during the week, Jack, like you and Thomas Henderson and that kind of stuff?
I didn't say anything, did I?
He did a lot of talking.
Oh, yeah, he did. Doesn't really do anything. I don't care what he says before a game and what he says now, because I got a Super Bowl ring and we got the trophy, so, you know, I'm not worried about it.
And I feel tremendous.
Why this one over the other two?
Oh, being able to play, missed being out of it 2 years, being a part of a great group of guys for the organization, and having an opportunity to play the best.
Yes, I feel we played today better than we had any of those games. I really do. I think that we were basically in control offensively and defensively. You know, I was really happy with our offense today, that we went out there, you know, we made things happen. We got some points. You know, we were moving the ball on them. I was real glad about that.
And now that the game itself is over, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still answering thousands of questions from all the news media who've been here all week long. They're still here after the game to talk to them. What that means is the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to hold off their celebration just a little bit, but they will have a big party, a celebration of a victory of Super Bowl XIII, first to win 3. That'll take place tonight in Miami. From the Steelers locker room in the Orange Bowl, this is John Sanders, TV2 Eyewitness Sports.
Playing is Steve Furness. Late in the ball game, Steve was injured with a possible broken ankle, and he'll be assisted down the steps by Buff Boston, the business manager of the Steelers, and a representative of the airlines. There it is on the cast, number 1, Steelers. This is your first Super Bowl victory. What do you feel like?
I feel out of sight right now. I told my wife, I said, I can retire now. I got me a Super Bowl ring.
How long is it going to take you to come down?
I don't know. I don't know. I just can't believe it right now. Shucks, after that game, boy, I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. We got a Super Bowl ring, and I'm just enjoying it.
We're a little hungry for the next one. We're going to enjoy this one for a few weeks and have a nice off season. It's a tremendous reward for the whole team. I think the city is probably, or should be, as proud as the players are. We're happy to bring the championship back to Pittsburgh.
Just a super team for a super city, and even the fans were just great.
So there goes the World Championship entourage. Some of the players going to their homes, others headed for a vacation. Hard to believe that it was almost 7 months ago that this season started. It sure was long, but it sure was sweet. From Greater Pittsburgh International Airport, this is Bill Hillgrove for Channel 4 Action News.
Maybe people all over town are still talking about and savoring that win in the Super Bowl yesterday, but Myron Cope confessed yesterday after the game. He confessed that he almost blew the whole thing, and he made that confession to John Banaszak.
The terrible towel was poised to strike, and I asked Mike Webster if he would wear it for 2 plays on his belt, you know, as you wear a towel when it rains, and he said sure, and Chaz Knoll said sure, it's okay by me. So Webster went out there, and instead of taking it off after 2 plays, he wore the thing right through the football game. But I come down on a field just after you guys had taken an 18-point lead, and Mike, I guess, figured it's over with, and he hands me the towel. He says, you can have it now. He hands me this wet, soaking towel, and I stuff it in my briefcase, and then the Cowboys proceed to stage a frightening comeback.
It was very frightening, Myron. How come we can't win them going away? I can't understand it. I blame you, Myron Cope.
Well,
you shouldn't have taken the terrible towel. There's no doubt about it. It's your fault.
Yeah, there is absolutely no question. I was kicking myself, and I felt like giving it back to him, but that seemed awkward, you know, having stuffed it in the briefcase.
Yeah, but, you know, what do you want me to do? Knock you out for doing it? Hell no, Myron. We're still happy. We're happy. We'll take it.
I never saw a happier guy than when you made that sack there in the closing minutes and stretched your arms up to the skies, and as you have been wont to do, and that had to be just one of the greatest moment of your football career.
I think it was, Myron. It's been a long time since I've had a sack, you know, since early in the season, and I've been waiting to do that for a long time, and I was very excited then, and I'm probably even more excited now.
Well, it's a happy Steeler locker room, and you think in closing, John, that this is the best Steeler team of them all?
No, next year's will be.
Chuck Knoll said basically the same thing yesterday. He said the team hasn't peaked yet. If they didn't peak yet, then we should be in for a pretty good season next year. By the way, Steve Furness will have x-rays taken on his left ankle tomorrow. He was admitted to Divine Providence Hospital today. He had a cast put on his ankle yesterday after the game. And after a Super Bowl, I would think, Myron, that you might have a comment or two about the game yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was a controversial play. The Dallas Crybabies. The Dallas Crybabies are screaming about an official's call, and Tom Landry called it the kiss of death. Did the Dallas Crybabies in? What happened was that official Fred Swearingen called interference on cornerback Benny Barnes for tripping Lynn Swann. Well, all right. Let's look at the play 3 times. Let's get a good look at it. You'll see Lynn Swann coming down the sidelines, and Barnes will stumble and indeed trip Swann, preventing him from getting to the football as he turned in there, and he could easily have gotten to that football. But now Barnes is saying Swann shoved him, and you'll see Swann put a left hand on his back. Barnes says it should have been offensive interference. The difficulty is telling from film whether Swann shoved him or just made incidental contact with the hand. And that can only be judged by the official. He's the guy down on the field, so you've got to go with the official's judgment there. But anyhow, it is ironic that the Cowboys spent Super Bowl week pressuring officials to be alert to throw flags, and now they're crying that a flag did them in. And I get the feeling you people are looking at me strangely. I guess it's the super sombrero. A gent named Bob Jablanowski of Greenfield presented to me today on my return. It's not bad. This is Myron Cope on sports.
Moments in Super Bowl XIII, but there were also some tense moments. And one came in the 4th period, just before Franco Harris broke loose on a 22-yard run for Pittsburgh's 4th touchdown. Hollywood Henderson gave Terry Bradshaw a hard lick after a tackle, and the normally subdued Franco told Sam Nover he didn't like that.
I kind of felt that he might have been trying to intimidate us. and I didn't appreciate that too much.
What was the exchange of words like? What did you say? And he must have looked at you and couldn't believe it because you don't exchange words with anybody. I don't remember you ever having an exchange like that.
Well, right. I mean, you always have some now and then, but I guess because it was Tom, I get to get more publicity, but I just didn't think what he did was right because the whistle blew at the line of scrimmage because it was a delay of game, and I really didn't think he had to throw Bradshaw on the ground like he did. And, you know,
what did he say?
Well, you know, don't really want to exchange words of what we said, but, you know, like I basically said, you know, like lay off, and, you know, he told me what I can do. So that's basically what it was, and, you know, hey, don't get me wrong, after the game, you know, we shook hands and hugged, 'cause, like, I know Tom, and he's a, you know, good guy, good person, but on the field, sometimes other things happen, you know what I mean? You know, hey, I'm for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and whatever goes best for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I just did not like to see what he did to Bradshaw.
Yesterday's loss to the Steelers wasn't easy for Tony Dorsett. He was the game's leading rusher with 15 carries for 96 yards, and he did so well early in the game, he thought he should have carried the ball more.
I was ready. The adrenaline was flowing, and in a game like this, you know, you have to be ready to go from the opening whistle. There's no tomorrow, and all the marbles are on the table, and you can't wait. You got to go from the opening whistle to the last whistle, and I was ready to go, and I think I showed that early in the ball game. I was running the ball well, but second quarter, you know, my number was not called that much, but we played super. We just didn't win the football game.
How big a disappointment is this for you, man? You're not accustomed to taking defeats like this.
I'll tell you, it's very deflating, you know. But when you sit down and become realistic about it, Sam, and say, well, hell, you know, we had to have an excellent season to even make it here. And especially early in the year, you know, we were 6-4. The critics were counting us out, saying we wouldn't even win the Eastern Division, and what's wrong with the Cowboys? Man, we bounced back. We faced adversity, and we responded to it, and we responded well, and we made it to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out for us. I feel that the ball could have bounced our way, and maybe some of the calls that were called that were pretty questionable would have went our way, then it could have been a whole different story.
The Steelers announced today that defensive lineman Steve Furness has been admitted to Divine Providence Hospital for treatment of that bad ankle injury he sustained in yesterday's game. He will undergo additional x-rays on his left ankle for possible signs of fracture. His ankle was placed in a cast following the game.
A lot of mentioned a couple of special fans here from Pittsburgh, and Dee has a story on that.
They were in quite a crowd yesterday, believe me. Sam Nova tells us 1/3 of the crowd of 78,000 plus at the Orange Bowl for Super Bowl XIII were avid Steeler fans, and you didn't have to look far to spot any gold and black. Inside and out, Steeler fans let it be known visually who they were. Many of the signs that covered the facade of Three Rivers Stadium during the 14-2 regular season reappeared in Miami. The usual black and gold steelworker helmets have almost become the symbol. And